This is Retro Sports Radio. Visit RetroSeasons.com for more sports history.
On April 11, 1964, the New York Mets faced the Baltimore Orioles in an interleague exhibition game at Lawrence Stadium in Portsmouth, Virginia. New York was managed by Casey Stengel, who was trying to avoid a third consecutive 100-loss season for the Mets. The O's were managed by Hank Bauer in his first season with Baltimore after managing the Kansas City Athletics in 1961 and 62. This audio recording is from the radio broadcast, featuring announcers Bob Murphy, Lindsey Nelson, and Ralph Kiner.
From Portsmouth, Virginia, the New York Mets are on the air. Today, the New York Mets meet the Baltimore Orioles in their final exhibition game, brought to you by Rheingold Extra Dry and Cool Cigarettes. Well, hi, everybody. This is Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner. Our engineer, Pappy Durkin, all set to bring you today's game between the New York Mets and the Baltimore Orioles. You'll enjoy today's game more if you have plenty of Rheingold Extra Dry on hand. We hope you've got plenty on ice wherever you're listening along the Rheingold beach. Rheingold is as good to your taste as it is to your thirst because it's brewed extra dry. Smoother, crisper, livelier. Rheingold after Rheingold. Now we're approaching game time here in Portsmouth. A good time for you to light up a cool. Fans enjoy extra coolness you can feel in your throat. Smoke cool with a pure white filter. The weather today in Portsmouth, absolutely beautiful for the final exhibition game. Not a cloud in the sky, a brilliant blue sky, a sunny day, and the temperature in the 60s. Right now, Casey Stengel and Hank Bauer at home plate getting together with the umpires to exchange the batting order slips. The lineups and batting orders for today's game. The New York Mets, the visiting team, will have Dick Smith at first base. He will lead off. Rod Keneal in center field hitting second. Ron Hunt playing third base, batting third. Jim Hickman, the left fielder, will be the cleanup hitter. Bob Taylor behind the plate hitting number 5. Joe Christopher in right field hitting 6th. Sammy Samuel playing second base and hitting 7th. Al Moran will be at shortstop batting 8th, and on the mound hitting 9th, Tracy Stoller. In center field leading off for the Birds will be fleet-footed Jackie Brandt. Louis Aparicio, the shortstop, hitting 2nd. Big John Powell, the left fielder, hitting 3rd. Norm Seaburn, the first baseman, to hit cleanup. John Orsino behind the plate, he will hit number 5. Willie Kirkland in right field hitting 6th. Brooks Robinson, the brilliant Orioles third baseman, hitting 7th. Jerry Adair, the second baseman, batting 8th. And on the mound, hard-throwing left-hander and 20-game winner, Steve Barber. Barber pitching and hitting 9th. The batteries then for today's game. For the New York Mets, Tracy Stollard on the mound and Bob Taylor behind the plate. For the Baltimore Orioles, Steve Barber will handle the pitching and John Orsino working behind the plate. The umpires, Lou DeMuro of the American League behind the plate. Ed Sudol of the National League will be at first, and Paul Crawford of the Sally League will call the plays around third. Following today's game, the New York Mets will be flying to New York. Tomorrow, they will be given a day off by Casey Stengel as they prep for the opening of the National League season against the Philadelphia Phillies on Tuesday night. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, here in Portsmouth, which is just across the river from Norfolk, Virginia, the Marine Corps Color Guard is coming on the field, and the fans here in Portsmouth are watching today's ball game will be standing in a moment for the playing of our national anthem and a minute of silence in respect of the memory of the General of the Army, Douglas MacArthur, who went to his final resting place this morning in nearby Norfolk, Virginia. So we'll be waiting for a moment until the Marine Corps Color Guard reaches the flagpole for the ceremony. Over 300,000 people crowded the streets for the procession. The burial of General of the Army, Douglas MacArthur, who, as everyone connected with sports realizes, was such a tremendous friend of sports throughout his entire life. Following the game, the Mets will fly back to New York. They are estimated to get back to Idlewild around 7:30 this evening. They will have tomorrow off. They open the National League season on Tuesday night against the Phillies, and the pitchers in the Tuesday night opener will be Dennis Bennett for Philadelphia and Al Jackson for the New York Mets, a battle of left-handers. Bennett, an outstanding young left-hander, missed the first half of last year due to an automobile injury, but came back to pitch very well the second half of the season. Al Jackson has paced the Mets pitching staff in victories over their first 2 years of existence and has the honor of opening the season for the New York Mets on Tuesday night. The Mets and Phillies play again on Wednesday night. Next Thursday will be an off day. And then next Friday, the historic opening of beautiful new Shea Stadium, which will seat 55,300 with 96% of the seats within the foul line and every seat an individual seat. So, weather permitting, it should be a tremendous occasion when the Mets and the Pirates open the new stadium next Friday afternoon in Flushing. By the way, on Monday, the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce will honor the New York Mets Ball Club with a parade leaving the Travelers Motel at 10:15 in the morning, parading through Flushing and Jamaica, and then a luncheon in honor of the New York Mets at the Whitman Hotel in Jamaica on Monday noon. So a lot has been planned, and everything is just about set now for the opening of the National League season. We will have the traditional early openers on Monday. Houston will be opening in Cincinnati, and the traditional early opening for the National League in Cincinnati. Right now, Steve Barber has completed his pregame warm-up tosses, and everyone now here at the ballpark is waiting for the national anthem and a tribute to General MacArthur. Here, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Thank you very much.
Now, with the playing of our national anthem and the tribute paid to General of the Army Douglas MacArthur, we approach game time here in Portsmouth, Virginia, with Steve Barber on the mound for the Oilers. You know, back home in the Mets' spectacular new Shea Stadium, everything is mighty impressive. Perhaps the most impressive piece of equipment is that big Rheingold scoreboard. You're going to really enjoy seeing it. You'll not only see the score, of course, exactly where the game stands, but a picture of the batter and where he stands, his average. And on the scoreboard, there's another reminder. It says, Rheingold is as good to your taste as it is to your thirst. And isn't that exactly what you want a beer to be? The secret of Rheingold is a very special way of brewing. Rheingold is brewed extra dry, smoother, crisper, livelier. We hope you've got some Rheingold around right this minute, wherever you are along the Rheingold beach. If you do, well, we don't have to tell you that Rheingold is as good to your taste as it is to your thirst. Rheingold after Rheingold. Now, hard-throwing Steve Barber, a 20-game winner with the Birds a year ago, is all set to go. And leading off in the ball game against the Southpaw will be Dick Smith. Setting up the Orioles defensively, Norm Seaburn is at first, Jerry Adair at second, Louis Aparicio at short, and Brooks Robinson at third. Now Barber out of his windup. The game's first delivery, a slow grounder right back to the mound, taken by Barber. He throws to first, one away. In the outfield for the Orioles, John Powell is the left fielder, Jack Brandt in center, and around at right, Willie Kirkland. Barber pitching and Orsino behind the plate. As the ball players say when they have to go up and hit against Steve Barber, he'll put bees in your bat. He really throws hard, and he has a great sinker. Now, Steve, the Tacoma Park left-hander fires. Knee-high fastball for a call strike. Well, you can tell that the Mets home opener in Shea Stadium is just around the corner. No finer harbinger could you hope to detect than a giant Mets banner up in the top of the center field bleachers here in Portsmouth. Inside and low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Yes, sir, it's just about banner time again, and a group of youngsters here in Portsmouth have a banner that stretches, I'd say a good 40 feet long, saying, "We love the Mets." On the coaching lines for the New York Mets, Wes Westrom at first base and Don Hefner at third. Now Keneal cocks the bat, leans in and takes it outside, 2-1. Casey getting his ball club tomorrow off after the long spring training grind. Probable workout on Monday, and then the opening game Tuesday night with Jackson pitching against Dennis Bennett. 2-1 delivery. Ground ball bounced on the right side of the diamond. Jerry Adair is up with it, throws on to Sebring, 2 down. Anytime Barber has that good sinker ball going, you can tell right off the bat because what comes off the bat are ground balls. Now 2 outs and nobody on. Well, we're delighted to have our statistician Matt Winnick in our broadcasting booth today. Matt again this year will be with us game in and game out, home and away, night and day across the land, chronicling the facts and figures of the New York Mets. Now Ron Hunt, who has been shifted over to third base, batting third in the order, stepping in against Steve Barber. Pitch thrown outside and high, 1 ball and no strike. Actually, when the Braves first signed Ron Hunt to a pro contract, they signed him with the idea of his being a third baseman. And he played third that first season. Ron, aggressive type hitter, right-hand batter who hit .272 last year. Line drive down the right field line. A base hit for Ron Hunt. It's going down into the corner, being chased by Willie Kirkland. Ron is on his way to second. He'll go in standing up with a double down the right field line. Barber, who throws hard, a very difficult pitcher to pull. Ron Hunt timed his swing just right. It hit the outside fastball, a hard line drive, right down the right field line for a double. Now here is Jim Hickman. While the New York Mets will open the National League season Tuesday night against the Phillies, the Orioles will be opening their American League season against the White Sox in Chicago. Big banner out in center field says, "We love the Mets." Swing and a miss on a sinker, strike 1. We love D.A. Duff Mets. Well, we love you for having that banner. We hope we'll see you around Shea Stadium all summer long. Banner Day last year in the Polo Grounds was an amazing sight. Now the pitch on the way by Barber, low outside. Orsino has to dig it out. No one can ever accuse the Mets baseball fans of not being ingenious. They came up with more slogans, more poems to back their ball club, and probably help the sheet industry more than anybody else. Now Hickman was tied up, but holds up, and the pitch is taken out of the strike zone. 2 balls and a strike to Jim Hickman. Jim in left field batting cleanup. One of my favorites at the Polo Grounds last year, among the banners, was shortly after Carmel joined the ball club. Casey then had Duke Snyder and Duke Carmel. The banner simply said, "Casey, put up your Dukes." Ron Hunt is on second base, 2 men down. Now Barber off the stretch. Down comes the left arm, foul ball. He tried to hold up on the swing and fouled it away. So the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Next Friday at Shea Stadium, Guy Lombardo and his Royal Canadians will provide the pregame musical entertainment. When the time arrives for the singing of the national anthem, that magnificent Metropolitan Opera star Robert Merrill will sing the anthem. Now Barber up in pitching position, deals 2-2. A high fastball, and the string is out 3-2. 9 Hall of Famers will be on hand for the opening of Shea Stadium on Friday, including the 4 new inductees. By the way, when the new members of the Hall are inducted in late July this season, the New York Mets will have the honor of playing the annual pilgrimage to the Hall of Fame against Washington that day. Swing and a miss, he struck him out. Hickman goes down swinging on a high breaking ball. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on. Now the score in the middle of the first, the Mets nothing, and the Birds are coming to bat. Last half of the first inning here in Portsmouth. On the mound for the New York Mets, Tracy Stallard, Bob Taylor behind the plate. Setting up New York defensively, Dick Smith will be at first. Sammy Samuel playing second, Al Moran at short, and playing at third, Ron Hunt. In the outfield, Jim Hickman is the left fielder. In center field for the New York Mets, Rod Keneal, and around and right, Joe Christopher. On the coaching lines for the Orioles, Sherm Lawler on the lines at first, and on the lines at third, Bill Hunter. Well, last year, both Dick Wirtz and Sherm Lawler were still playing Major League Baseball. Both retired at the end of last year. Now, only one player remains active of the old St. Louis Browns, and he'll be in action against the New York Mets in the opener on Tuesday night, Mr. Roy Sievers. Breaking ball on the outside corner. Don Larson would have to go into that category, beg your pardon. Larson still working as a bullpen pitcher for Alvin Dark and the San Francisco Giants. Here's the pitch on the way. He holds up on a slow breaking ball that's outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Brad having a good spring, batting at .316. He's an exciting ball player. He hits the ball through an infield about as fast as anybody in the majors. Foul ball off to the right, no play. Well, this is some kind of a day. I want to tell you you couldn't ask for a better one. We'd like to have it for the opener next Friday. We understand the weather in the New York area is just as good. A swing and a miss, he struck him out. Tracy Stallard strikes out Jackie Brandt, 1 away. One of the most impressive things about Stallard this spring has been the psychological development, the mental improvement, so to speak, the confidence that Stallard has gained. He has suddenly become more or less an elder statesman on the ball club, assured of a starting position. And it has given him a tremendous shot in the arm, a great deal more confidence, and you can see the way he pitches, he's pitching with more confidence. Fastball inside, 1 ball and no strike. Little Louis Aparicio, speedy right-hand hitter waiting. Strike on the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. For the last 8 years, Little Louis has led the American League in stolen bases. For the Birds, he pilfered 40 a year ago. Ron Hunt placed him in close at third, even with the bag wide of the line. Shortening up the stride on the left side of the diamond is Al Moran. A line drive base hit, ripped down the left field line by Aparicio. Little Louis around first. He'll hold there as Hickman takes the ball back in. He strung that one. Hard line drive beyond the reach of Hunt and on into left field. That brings up Johnny Bug Powell. Powell has hit 6 home runs this spring. As they say, he is big enough to go bear hunting with a buggy whip. He checked into spring camp weighing 251 pounds, but Hank Bauer has him melted down to about 234 now. Now the stretch by Tracy, and he steps up. This fellow is just big and strong. Reminds you a great deal when he hits of Johnny Myers. Inside and low, 1 ball and no strike. Last year, at the age of 22, he led the Orioles in the power department, home runs and runs batted in. One out and 1 on, no score, last half of inning number 1. Game being sent to you with the best wishes of Rheingold Extra Dry. We hope you'll enjoy it. Now Tracy eyes the runner, throws to first, not in time. Little Louis had to slide back. Anytime Aparicio's on, a pitcher really has to go to work. He has to throw over to first base 4, 5, maybe 6 times if he's going to keep him close. Throw to first, and he gets back. The main thing, you have to mix it up. You can't throw over there the same way every time. Sometimes a slow stretch, then you throw over. Sometimes you wheel and throw. Way inside, and he goes behind on the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Norm Seaburn is the on-deck hitter, and then John Orspino. The Orioles in the spring have won 15, lost 11. Two-0 delivery, an off-speed pitch that is fouled off the bat handle, and the count 2-1. For the Orioles, they'll be opening Memorial Stadium in Baltimore after their opener in Chicago. They come back home to have a weekend series against the New York Yankees. Let's have the outfield deep for Powell. This is quite a hitter's ballpark. If you can't hit him out of this park, you can't hit him out of any park. A throw to first. Close, but he's back. Down the right field line for the left-hand hitters is only 315 feet, and the ballpark really carries. The ball really carries in this park. Down the left field line, 330. Slider on the inside corner, a good one by Stoller. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 365 feet to the center field bleachers. It's not too difficult on a good day to hit them up in those bleachers. Last year, when the Mets played here in Portsmouth, Eddie Cranepool really put the frosting on the cake of an outstanding spring and nailed down an opening day job by hitting 3 home runs. 2 off Robin Roberts and 1 off Stu Miller. The 2-2 delivery with the runner going is fouled off the end of the bat, no play. Hank Bauer, who, of course, played for Casey when Casey had the Yankees, the new Oriole manager. And he has as his coaches Sherm Waller, Billy Hunter, Gene Woodling, and his pitching coach is Harry the Cat Bertine. The Cat has been in Baltimore through the reigns of Paul Richards, Billy Hitchcock, and now Hank Bauer. Swing and a miss, he struck him out. Ballard strikes out Powell. He got him with a high hard one. Now 2 outs and 1 on. Norm Seaburn coming on to hit. Norm hitting .276 for the spring. He came to the Orioles in the swap with Kansas City for Jim Gentile. Well, a lot of interest in today's ball game here in Portsmouth. The public address system now asking if the fans would mind moving a little bit closer together so that those who are still outside trying to get in can get in to see the game. Breaking ball over at the knees, a call strike on Norm Seaburn. Well, in one respect, we'll be driving back home following today's game. Our timing was a little bit off. They are building probably the world's longest tunnel and bridge and causeway going across the Chesapeake Bay. A span of over 17 miles. It's going to open next Wednesday. We had thought would be able to drive through going home tonight, but we'd have to hang around till Wednesday, and I don't want to miss that opener in Philadelphia. One and one the count on Norm Seaburn, but it's going to be one of the real engineering miracles of the times when it is completed and opened on Wednesday. Throw to first, not on time. We were always fascinated in spring training with that trip across the Sunshine Skyway across Tampa Bay. It was a little over 12 miles. This one will be over 17 miles. Popped up off the fifth and foul ground. Bob Taylor is under it waiting, and the Hawk puts it away. The side is out. Strong pitching by Tracy Stoller. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on. At the end of 1 inning, the score, the Mets nothing and the Orioles nothing. Well, if you're out for a leisurely drive today or you have some extra time on your hands, we suggest if you haven't done so that you take a drive and go by Shea Stadium. The ticket office is open. It also will be open for your convenience tomorrow to get your tickets for the big opening day game next Friday afternoon. Everything is just about in readiness. The stadium looks absolutely beautiful. The field boxes, the loges, the mezzanine, the upper deck. The box seats are painted a little deeper shade than the reserved, and the reserved a little deeper than the unreserved. Thoroughly an eye-appealing stadium, the most modern sports plant in America, and you'll be a part of it. Only 55,300 people in this land of ours will be on hand for that very first game ever to be played in the stadium. 9 members of the Hall of Fame will be there, including the living ex-members of the Giants and Dodgers, plus the 4 new inductees, Luke Appling, Heine Manouche, Red Faber, and Burley Grimes. Robert Merrill sings the national anthem. Guy Lombardo, musical entertainment before the game. Music for the national anthem by the Department of Sanitation Band. All in all, one tremendous day. Next Friday, the Mets and the Pirates in Shea Stadium. Now with Barber on the mound, Hawk Taylor is up for the Mets as the game moves into the second inning. We're counting the youngsters up in the top of the center field bleachers that have that long banner. Fastball over for a call strike. There are 7 of them. They have a banner and they stretch it out. It goes maybe 30 or 40 feet saying, "We love the Mets." And a minute ago, they had that familiar cry of the last 2 years, "Let's go Mets." Barber with a 1-strike count, winds and pitches. Ground ball hit down to third, fielded by Brooks Robinson. He strides and throws, and they have him by 2 running strides. 1 away, nobody on. On to hit now, the right fielder, Joe Christopher. Throughout spring training, with the exception of George Altman and Ron Hunt, Casey has been platooning elsewhere on his ball club, and this may be fairly close to the opening night lineup in Philadelphia, since Gene Mauch has already announced that he will open the National League season against the Mets with the left-hander Dennis Bennett. Here's the pitch on the way. It's over at the knees for a called strike. It will be touch and go as to whether or not George Altman will be ready for the opening game on Tuesday night. Trainer Gus Mauch is hopeful and feels that since it is only a bruise, despite the fact that it's quite sore today, that he still may be able to open on Tuesday. 1 ball and 1 strike. George did not come to the ballpark today. He was advised by Gus to remain back at the hotel and take heat treatments and rest as much as possible. Carl Willie and Frank Thomas are both back in New York. Now Barber out of his windup. The pitch, swing and a miss on a fastball thrown in tight. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now Jack Fisher is starting to warm up easily in the bullpen. Casey wants to give Stallard, Fisher, and Bernard all some work. Final tune-up work in this ball game today. Outside and high. For Hank Bauer, his pitching plans are quite different because he is not planning to use Barber until the opener at home in Baltimore against the Yankees next Friday. And since Barber will not be pitching then until next Friday, he may have him go as far as 7 innings. Whereas Fisher and Stallard figure to work games 2 and 3 for the Mets. Line drive, base hit through the hole going to right field. That's base hit number 2. Both have been to right field by right-hand hitters, and it brings up Sammy Somwell. Game being held up just for a moment by umpire Lou DeMuro, who noticed that they need a doctor in the right field bleachers. So someone obviously in need of attention in the right field bleachers, and the game is being held up. Very alert work on the part of umpire Lou DeMuro, who detected that there was a disturbance over in the right field bleachers, and in a small ballpark such as this, he was able to tell that someone was in need of attention, and so they have asked for the doctor. Real good crowd on a perfect day for a ball game. Every seat taken in the grandstand. The bleachers comparatively empty, but now we see a lot of the fans are headed toward the bleachers, unable to get a seat. Ground ball hit down to first, knocked down by Seaburn. He makes the unassisted play, getting well, and Christopher moves on to second. Now there are 2 away here on the top of the second. Al Moran comes up. Al Moran batting right-handed. Al has done quite a bit of experimenting during the spring, trying to improve his hitting. Bill Dickey worked with him quite a bit, trying more than anything to get him to hit down on the ball. Now Barber up in pitching position. Delivers outside and high. One of the great hitters in the history of the game, Paul Wainer. Big Poison always said that the top half of the ball belongs to the hitter, the bottom half of the ball belongs to the pitcher. If you hit under, you're going to pop up. If you hit down on it, you might come up with a base hit. Now Barber makes the stop, then delivers to Moran over on the outside corner of the knees for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Joe Christopher on second, 2 men down, top of the second, no score. Foul tip. Pops out of the mid of John Orsino, no damage done. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mets with 2-night games in Philadelphia, Tuesday night and Wednesday night, Thursday the off day, and the big opener on Friday. Monday will be a big day for the New York Mets. As we mentioned earlier, they will be honored with a parade starting at 10:15 from the Travelers Motel, winding through Flushing and Jamaica, and winding up with a luncheon in the Whitman Hotel in Jamaica. Foul hit down the right field line, out of play. Very handsome, hard-throwing young right-hander that means so much to the Baltimore Orioles. Chuck Estrada made the catch on that one over the bullpen. Talking to Jack Fisher about Estrada, they were very close friends when Jack was with the Orioles, and he says that Estrada says he no longer, and for the first time in over a year, does not feel pain when he throws. He's been throwing hard. The 1-2 pitch, outside and high. Did you notice where the St. Louis Cardinals are leaving Ray Washburn with their Jacksonville Farm Club in order that they can keep him out of the cold weather and not run the risk of him re-injuring that arm in the first couple of weeks of the season? Also give him a chance to strengthen his arm in the sunshine before coming up to join St. Louis. The 2-2 delivery. Swing and a miss. He struck him out with a sinker down around the ankle. Side retired, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. At the end of an inning and a half, the score in Portsmouth, the New York Mets nothing and the Baltimore Orioles nothing. And let's hear how a baseball fan makes up for an error in his choice of a cigarette.
I don't believe it. Not another error.
Boy, I sure made an error.
Huh?
Trying this new menthol cigarette.
What do you mean?
It just doesn't make it.
Well, here's one that does. Try Cool.
Cool? Okay. See what I mean? Yeah. This is more like it.
Your cigarette's not tasting cool enough till you come up to cool. With rich tobacco's pure white filter, extra coolness too. Feel extra coolness in your throat as cool comes through for you. You'll be smoking cool, cool all the time when you come up to cool.
For the most refreshing coolness you can get in any cigarette, smoke Cool with the pure white filter. Last half of the second, John Orsino comes up against Tracy Stallard. After coming to the Orioles in the deal with San Francisco, last year Orsino knocked in 56 runs and batted .272. He did a good job for them. John Orsino, right-hand hitter out of Teaneck, New Jersey. Tracy Stallard on the mound for the New York Mets. Last half of the second, no scores. Tracy winds. The pitch breaks too far outside. 1 ball and no strikes. The Orioles and Giants made a big deal during the winter before last season. Breaking ball, and he lays off. 2 balls and no strikes. Stu Miller and Mike McCormick, along with John Orsino, came to the Birds for Billy Heft, Jack Fisher, now with the Mets, and Jim Coker. All three of those players, Billy Hepp, Jack Fisher, and Jim Coker, have now gone to other ball clubs. Inside. Ball three, it's 3-0. Coker has just gone in a deal involving the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'll check that involving the Philadelphia Phils, beg your pardon. Pitches outside, and Stallard walks Orsino on 4 pitches. Now the right fielder, Willie Kirkland, hitting for the first time. Willie, during the spring, hitting .227. Now Tracy off the stretch. Delivers, bounced foul. He barely got a piece of it. 1 strike count on Willie Kirkland. Outside and high. My memory was playing tricks on me. Ralph was straightening me out on the trade. Gary Kolb and Jim Coker leaving the Cardinals for Bob Uecker of the Braves. Off-speed delivery that's over for a call strike. Good pitch by Stallard. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The deal involving the Dodgers was the Dodgers and the Detroit Tigers. Larry Sherry going to Detroit for Lou Johnson. Now Tracy up in pitching position. The 1-2 delivery. A drive in the air, sinking rapidly in short center field. It's a base hit. Played on the hop by Rod Keneal. And now the Birds have runners on first and second, nobody out. Right here we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
WGY and WGFN Schenectady.
On the beautiful in New York, 10:50.
Bob Murphy with Ralph Kiner and Lindsey Nelson from Portsmouth, Virginia. Now Brooks Robinson is up with runners on first and second, nobody out. The Mets here will be defending against the possibility of a bunt. Jerry Adair is the on-deck batter, and then Steve Barber. Now Tracy off the stretch. Delivers just inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Brooks has not hit for a high average during the spring games, but he has been hitting with power. He's hit 4 home runs, and he leads the Orioles in RBIs for the spring. Runners on first and second, nobody out. Pitch to Robinson. Full swing and a foul ball back into the screen. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hank Bauer has Robinson swinging away with Adair, the number 8 hitter, on deck, to be followed by the pitcher, Steve Barber. Tracy slowing himself down a little bit, trying to pitch out of a jam here in the second. The Birds have the table set, 2 on and nobody out. Here's the pitch on the way. Inside and high, 2 balls and a strike. Baltimore a year ago got off to a flying start. They were really winging. But they fell victims to a June swoon. They had a stretch during June when the roof really fell in on them and knocked them right out of the pennant race. One on Brooks Robinson. The lead runner on second is John Orsino. Willie Kirkland is on first. Now the pitch thrown. Line drive hit hard down the left field line, a base hit. Hickman racing over to the line to play it around third, heading in. The score is John Orsino, and the Birds lead 1-0 on a run-scoring single to left by Brooks Robinson. Willie Kirkland goes from first to third. Jerry Adair, the second baseman. 2 years ago, Jerry had a real good year. Last season, he fell off at the plate. He was hampered several times during the season with minor hurts that had him in and out of the lineup. Mets set up hoping for a shot at the double play. A line drive to right field, a base hit by Adair. Kirkland comes in to score. Robinson will hold at second. Orioles 2 and the Mets nothing on the single to right by Jerry Adair. Now Steve Barber comes up. With Barber hitting, runners on first and second, nobody out. Now the Mets will be defending against the bunt. Barber batting left-handed. First 4 men up have reached safely against Ballard here in the last half of the second. Fisher still cranking up down in the bullpen. He's around the bunt. Bunt, fair ball. Ballard coming off the mound. The play goes to third. Out at third. They get Robinson. Close play at third, but Ballard threw just in time to Ron Hunt. To fourth, Brooks Robinson. Now runners on first and second, one man down. Top of the batting order for the center fielder, Jackie Brandt. Brandt was struck out in the first inning by Stallard. Baltimore 2, New York nothing, last half of the second. Tracy walked the first man up, John Orsino. Willie Kirkland singled to center with a sinker off the end of the bat. Now the pitch on the way. Slider on the outside corner, a strike. Last year, Jackie hit .248 as the Birds center fielder. Ground ball wrapped to shortstop. Moran to Cromwell. There's one on to first. Double play on the side is out. Baltimore, 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 1 left in the last of the second. Now at the end of 2 innings, the score, the Orioles 2 and the New York Mets, nothing. Well, for those of you who are making your ticket plans now, not only for opening day, but all the home games of the New York Mets in beautiful New Shea Stadium, we'd like to remind you that again of this year, for your convenience, in Midtown Manhattan, ticket outlets are located at Grand Central Station near the foot of the 42nd Street Vanderbilt ramp, the Long Island waiting room of Penn Station. The ticket office will be open today and tomorrow for your convenience at Shea Stadium. And also this year, a brand new ticket outlet for those who live near the Nassau-Suffolk County line. The ticket outlet is located in Macy's in the Walt Whitman Shopping Center in Huntington. Remember, too, you may order your tickets by mail. Simply address your correspondence to Ticket Manager, the New York Mets, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. We'll be looking for you on Friday for the opener of the beautiful stadium. Right here we go along to the third inning with Steve Barber pitching for the Orioles against the New York Mets. And all set now to follow the action for you, Ralph Kainer.
Thank you, Bob, and once again, hello, everybody. Steve Barber going for the Orioles has worked through 2 innings. He has given up no runs, allowed 2 hits, struck out 2, and walked none. Steve will pitch against here in the top of the third. The pitcher, Tracy Stallard, who is scheduled up, but we'll have a pinch hitter for him, and then Dick Smith and Rod Conneal. It's going to be Larry Elliott pinch hitting for Tracy Stallard. That'll mean that Jack Fisher, who has been warming up, will come in the ball game to pitch in the bottom half of the third. Stallard going out, giving up 2 runs and 4 hits, striking out 2 and walking 1. First pitch to Larry Elliott, a left-hand batter, is taken low, ball 1. Larry started this season as more or less a player on the Buffalo roster. He has more or less earned himself a job in the regular roster in center field. Next pitch back to the plate, a fastball in the outside corner. Count 1 ball, 1 strike. Larry has been used in center field against right-hand pitching throughout the latter part of spring training. He makes his home in San Diego, California. And now Steve Barber into the windup and back again. And he moves Elliott away from the plate and on down to the ground with a fastball inside. So the count, 2 balls, 1 strike. Barber wearing number 13 in his uniform, one of the few pitchers in baseball to do so, and that is the number of losses he had last year. And his pitch came back, and it was hit slowly on a check swing down the third. Robinson picks it up, flips quickly to first base for the out. 1 man out here in the top of the third. Score is 2-0 in favor of the Baltimore Orioles, and the batter will be Dick Smith. Dick's the leadoff batter for the Mets. Up for the second time. His first time up, he bounced back to the mound on the very first pitch of the ball game. Smith, a right-hand batter, playing at first base. And now the left-hander to work against Smith with a breaking pitch, a fast slider that's in on the inside corner, strike 1. Barber is scheduled to go against the New York Yankees when they open the season against the Baltimore Orioles in New York. Next pitch back is a fastball moving outside. One ball, 1 strike. That game will be in Baltimore. Orioles open the season against the White Sox in Chicago. Now the 1-1 pitch. Foul down the right field line. No chance for a play. It goes as a long strike. Mets, of course, open their season against the Philadelphia Phillies the 14th on Tuesday night. They play on Wednesday night also. Open at home on Friday afternoon at Shea Stadium. All of us very interested to hear how the stadium is coming along, as quite a few of the people came down from New York for this game, and the reports are great. Pitch back is low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Playing field condition supposedly in perfect shape, and that's understandable as the Mets have the top groundskeeper in baseball. Johnny McCarthy doing a good job there again. Barber comes back and bounces the pitch in the dirt. It bounces over the shoulder of the catcher, Johnny Orsino, and the count fills to 3-2. Conference at the mound by Steve Barber and Johnny Orsino. Orsino, if you remember, had something happen to him last year that should happen to every hitter. He had 5 consecutive home runs in spring training. They didn't come all in one game, but he still had 5 in a row. That's something that's rather unusual, to say the least. This spring, he hasn't been quite that fortunate. Now 3-2. It's Barber back again, and he misses outside, ball 4. So Steve walks his first man here in the top of the third. Orioles lead 2-0, 1 out. That'll bring up Rod Keneal, who bounced to second base his first time up. Rod playing in center field, batting from the right-hand side. Rod has been used in the outfield, also at second and third base this spring. He's been filling the same role he filled last year as utility ball player. And his first pitch is hit off the handle and foul into the stands along the right field side. Strike 1. Norm Sebring coming over to talk to Steve Barber at the mound now. Norm has sort of followed Hank Bauer, the manager of the Baltimore Orioles, around. He went from the Yankees with Bauer to Kansas City on a trade. And when Bauer moved from Kansas City to the Orioles as a coach and then later on became manager, he got Sebring right over with him. 1 strike count to Rod Keneal. The score 2-0 Orioles lead with 1 out in the top of the third. Runner at first base, and the pitch is swung on. A slider, a hard swing by Rod Keneal. He didn't get it. Strike 2. Barber has a very, very good slider and a very good fastball. Fastball sinks and moves away from a right-hand batter. Slider, of course, moving right in the hands. He likes to work the slider inside, the fastball outside, the right-hander. Now 2 strikes. He comes in again with the slider down low around the knees, and Canille strikes out. That is the 3rd strikeout for Steve Barber. He now has 2 out here in the 3rd. And it brings up Ron Hunt, who doubled down the right field line his first time up. Ron and Joe Christopher with the 2 hits in the ball game by the Mets. Ron has been playing at third base in the last few ball games, and he's been doing better there all the time. He played there his first year in ball and has played there before. And he has shown a very good arm throwing from third, and he also has shown a very good like for the position. He's been very impressive at the plate this spring. First pitch to him is high, a fastball. 1 ball, no strike. One thing about Ron at third base, he might live a little longer. At second base, he gets hit quite often on double plays because he just likes to stay in there. Now the 1-0 delivery with the runner going is taken inside. The throw down to second, not in time. And a stolen base for Dick Smith, and he stole it all the way. It wasn't even close. Pitch was inside. Orsino had to move to his left, and by the time he came out throwing, it was no contest. So the Mets now have their second runner at second base with 2 out here in the top of the 3rd. And the count on Ron Hunt is 2-0. For a big man, Smith can fly down the line. Hunt stepping out of the batter's box. Time called by home plate umpire Lou De Niro. Now time is in. Barber back to work, and the pitch. Bounce foul. Slider in tight, bounce down in the dirt. Count now 2 balls and 1 strike. Final game of the spring for the Mets. Their 28th of the spring training season. It's been a good spring. The Mets were not rained out once. In fact, they never did have a bad day. 2 balls, 1 strike. The pitch by Barber back to Hunt. Taken high and outside, ball 3. So Ron has the count his favor. 3 balls and 1 strike with Jim Hickman on deck. Hasn't been a good spring for the Mets as far as injuries. They've had 3 players receive broken bones: Al Jackson, Choo-Choo Coleman, and Carl Willie. Then they've had injuries to Altman, Hickman, Thomas, and Powell. Next pitch is low and inside, ball 4, and Barber walks his second man. Dick Smith on at second base as a result of a walk and a stolen base, and now Ron Hunt at first. Bob Murphy just informed me one other player the Mets had a broken bone, and that's right. Craig Anderson had his hand broken. So they've had 4 players that came up with broken bones this spring. That's way over par. Runners now at first and second with 2 out, and Jim Hickman in. Jim struck out swinging his first time up, and he hits the first pitch right back to the mound. A comebacker on 1 hop to throw to first base, and that does it. For the Mets, no runs, there were no hits. No errors, 2 walks, 2 men left on base, and the score at the end of 2.5 innings. The Orioles 2, the Mets nothing. Well, it's almost over as far as spring training is concerned, and it's been quite a spring, as we mentioned before. And spring training has become quite a tradition. In fact, it goes all the way back to 1884 when the Boston Nationals limbered up with a few games in New Orleans. And to a fan, why, beer is a baseball tradition, too. Yes, sir. There's no better way to enjoy a ball game than with a cool, refreshing glass of beer. And there's no better beer to have than Rheingold Extra Dry. Rheingold is as good to your taste as it is to your thirst, because it's brewed extra dry, brewed very specially with a smooth, crisp liveliness that, well, it just can't be matched. That's why when you enjoy the ball game with a refreshing Rheingold Extra Dry, you're sharing a great tradition with the millions alone the Rheingold breed who know. Rheingold is as good to your taste as it is to your thirst. Rheingold after Rheingold. New pitcher in the ballgame for the Mets, Jack Fisher, now replacing Tracy Stallard. Stallard worked the first 2 innings in his tune-up for the Major League opener. Not necessarily the first game of the season. It's scheduled to be Al Jackson to be the first pitcher against the Phillies, but this will be the last chance Tracy will have to work until he starts in the official 1964 season. He went 2 innings, gave up 2 runs, allowed 4 hits, struck out 2, and walked 1. Now Jack Fisher, a right-hander, formerly with the Baltimore Orioles. Jack has had a good spring, and he'll be working to Louis Aparicio, John Powell, and Norm Seaburn here in the third. And Fisher's first pitch is slider outside, ball 1. Louis had a base hit to left field his first time up, hitting a slider on the line to left. Fisher, a right-hander, back to Aparicio, and there's one popped up in foul territory in the first base side. Smith is running down after it, and he can't get to it. He was fighting the sun all the way and had trouble finding the ball in spite of the fact that he had his glasses down. Pretty tough chance for first baseman Dick Smith. No error on the play. And Aparicio now with a count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Fisher acquired from San Francisco. Basically a breaking ball pitcher. He likes to work the spots, not exceptionally fast. Uses the slider quite often, also throws the slip pitch. Now he sets, and the 1-1 pitch is the slip pitch. It's low in the dirt. 2 balls, 1 strike. The Orioles with 2 runs in the second inning. A walk to John Osino, a single by Willie Kirkland, a single by Brooks Robinson to drive in the run, and a single by Jerry Adair to drive in a run, leading the ball game 2-0. Fisher back again. And a check on the swing in time by Aparicio, and the count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike. Louis checking with Billy Hunter, the third base coach, as to whether or not he'll be hitting away. Coaching at first base, Sherm Lawler. Now 3-1. The pitch is swung on, a slider and miss. Full count now as Louis Aparicio leads off here in the third. Fisher into the windup, and here's the pitch. And a check swing foul ball. Ball going over the top of the roof and out of play. Aparicio tried to hold off that ball. It was out of the strike zone. Couldn't keep the bat off the ball, and he gets the count to remain at 3-2. Louis last year led the American League in stolen bases with 40. That tied him with Maury Wills for the Major League League. Now again at 3-2. And the pitch is bounced in the hole, dug out by Ron Hunt. He goes across with a good throw. Out number 1. That'll bring up John Boog Powell. Big, strong left fielder. And this park got to be built to order for him. It's 315 down the right field line, 365 in center field. He looks like a very menacing batter in the batter's box with that big size. He weighs about 230. Struck out swinging his first time up. Tracy Stallard got him on a fastball, and he takes the fastball high, ball 1. Tracy had 2 strikeouts in the first inning, getting Jackie Brandt and John Powell. But now Jack Fisher has replaced him, and there's a ball hit softly down the short right off the handle. Picked up by Al Moran, and the throw to first base to Dick Smith brings about out number 2. Powell was jammed with a slider right on the fist. So with 2 down, Norm Seaburn will give it a try. Norm fouled out his first time up. He is 0 for 1. Left-hand batting first baseman. Don't forget to visit Rheingold's Little Old New York at the World's Fair, opening April 22nd. Enjoy this authentic corner of New York City as it was back in 1904. First pitch to the first baseman is fouled down in the dirt. Strike 1. Jack Fisher with a slider in tight, right on the hands of the left-hand batter. Now Fisher into the windup and back again, and he misses low with a slip pitch. Change of pace. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, Casey did it again last night. He was on, and he was really on. Now the 1-1 pitch. A swing and a change of pace. A good split pitch. Strike two. Casey said no speeches now as he went to a banquet that was staged by the Portsmouth Ball Club here. Then he got up and talked for about 29 minutes, and he had everybody in the aisle. The 1-2 pitch to Sebring is taken high, ball two. He was really putting it on for his former teammate and very close friend, Al Lopez, who was there, the manager of the Chicago White Sox. Also Tony Cuccinella, who coaches for the White Sox, and also a player who had played for him. And he was funny. Now 2-2, the pitch is hit foul down the line. Count holds at 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 out in the bottom half of the third. The Orioles lead 2-0. Time called for a moment as Sebring backed out of the batter's box. Now time is in, and Fisher comes back to the plate. And he gets him looking on the inside corner with a slider. First strikeout for Jack Fisher, and that retires the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base, and the score at the end of 3, the Orioles 2, the Mets nothing. Well, I don't want to tell you this, but I guess I should. It's only 4 more days left to April 15th, and you know what that means. That's income tax return time. A friend of ours showed, he came across a news story that really might amuse you. Talking about it before, but you might not have heard it. It seems that there was a sheep rancher who recently listed his 9-year-old monkey as a tax deduction. And this monkey herds sheep and actually drives a tractor. Since the rancher provides free room and board for the monkey, the government allowed a tax deduction. But it didn't happen here in the United States. It happened in Australia, so I don't think you can get away with it. But don't be jealous, though, because there's plenty of benefits right here along the Rheingold beat. Like the new tax cut, the Mets, the World's Fair, and the best of beers. That's Rheingold Extra Dry. Rheingold is as good to your taste as it is to your thirst because it's brewed extra dry, smooth and crisp, and completely quenching. Yes, it's the wide world, and you won't find a better beer. Rheingold is as good to your taste as it is to your thirst. Rheingold after Rheingold. You got your tax all made out, Mr. Murphy?
I didn't have any problem making it out, Ralph. The problem was getting the money to pay him with.
That sort of does create some sort of a problem every now and then, doesn't it? I haven't even finished mine. I'm going to spend all day Monday on it. Now we're all set to go here in the top of the 4th as Steve Barber continues to work on the mound. The first pitch is a strike call. Bob Taylor, the batter, and Taylor taking as a curveball broke over at the knees. Bob bounced to third his first time up. He'll be followed by Joe Christopher and Sammy Samuel. Score 2-0 Baltimore. And the next pitch back is hit to deep right field. Moving back, waiting now, is the right fielder Willie Kirkland, and he makes the catch. And while we wait for the next batter to come to bat, we'll pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
You're listening to WGY and WGFM, your New York Mets stations Schenectady.
Along with Bob Murphy and Lindsey Nelson from Portsmouth, Virginia. The Mets playing their last game of the season, the spring training season. And now with one man out here in the 4th, as the Mets trail 2-0, the batter will be Joe Christopher. Joe has one of the 2 hits off Steve Barber. He singled the right field, the right-hand batter, and there's one in the center field. The ball hanging up in the air. Coming strong is Brandt. He can't get to it. It bounces off his glove. Christopher holds at first base, and the throw comes in, gets away from the second baseman. But no error on the play as Christopher stays at first. A looping line drive into center field, and Jackie Brandt tried to shoestring it, and the ball hit right in front of his glove and bounced off the top of it, but held close enough so Brandt could make the play back in. A base hit for Joe Christopher, his second in the ball game, the third by the Mets off Steve Barber, and it will bring up Sammy Samuel. Sammy hit a hard ground ball down the first and was retired in a good play by Norm Sebring his first time up. Right-hand batter playing at second base, and the first pitch is taken outside, a fastball. 1 ball, no strikes. Larry Bernard's warming up in the bullpen for the Mets. Casey, on the bench today, said there's a good chance that Bernard might become a starting pitcher. And the next pitch that is thrown to Samuel is fouled out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. He said it was some reservation, though, because he said, now what happens if he starts in the ball game and I need somebody to come in to relieve him? Then I got nobody to go to. That means that he likes Bernard as his number 1 relief pitcher, too. 2-0 game, Baltimore. Here's the pitch to Samuel, and bounced back through the mound. Backhanded by Adair. He goes over to the bag, then throws to first base, and the play at first base is in time. Also, Adair did step on at second base, so it's a double play. We hesitated on the play at second base because it didn't appear as though Adair got to the bag. The umpire gave a late call, and then the throw to first base was not in time, and Samuel is now safe at first. So they get the force play and a good play by Adair at second base as he backhanded that ball right near the bag and back of it, and the throw to first base was not in time. 2 men out. The batter now is Al Moran. Say, now's a good time to light up a cool Thriller King. Get the most refreshing coolness in cigarette smoking today. First pitch to Moran is low for ball 1. Next pitch back is looped into center field. Brad is moving to his left, and he makes the catch to retire the side. In the inning for the Mets, no runs. They had 1 hit. Orioles made no errors. 1 man was left on base. The score at the end of 3.5. The Mets trail by a 2-0 score. The Orioles out in front. Let's listen while a baseball fan learns about a cigarette that makes a hit every time.
Another pop-up. We haven't had a hit all day.
Yeah, and this cigarette's no hit with me.
What's the matter?
Oh, lost their taste lately.
Well, here, Joe. Have a cool.
Cool?
I think you'll like them. See what I mean?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all.
Your cigarette's not tasting cool enough till you come up to cool. With rich tobacco's pure white filter, extra coolness too. Feel extra coolness in your throat as cool comes through for you. You'll be smoking cool, cool all the time when you come up to cool.
For the most refreshing coolness you can get in any cigarette, smoke cool with the pure white filter.
It's the bottom half of the 4th with the Orioles in front 2-0 as they come to bat against Jack Fisher. Fisher in the game in the 3rd, and he pitched perfect ball through his first 3 batters. He'll now work to John Orsino, Willie Kirkland, and then Brooks Robinson. Orsino, the catcher in the ball game, walked his first time up and scored the first run. He's a right-hand batter. And the first pitch to Orsino is looped into right center field off of the handle, a broken bat. It drops in for a base hit as Samuel couldn't get back to it. So Orsino with a broken bat base hit, the first hit given up by Fisher, and the Orioles now have a runner at first base with no one out. When the Orioles scored their 2 runs, they had 4 men up without an out against Tracy Stallard. Tracy worked the first 2 innings, gave up the 2 runs. Now the batter is Willie Kirkland, left-hand batting right fielder. He singled to center field his first time up. And the first pitch is lined down the line. It is a foul ball. Ball foul by about a foot. Right over the top of the first baseman's head and curving into foul territory. That ball was well hit. Orioles now have a total of 5 base hits off the combined pitching of Tracy Stallard and Jack Fisher. Willie Kirkland back in the batter's box. He started his career with the Giants. And now the next pitch is a fastball. It's high. 1 ball, 1 strike. For the Mets, they have Dick Smith at first base, Sammy Samuel at second, Al Moran at short, and Ron Hunt at third base. This could be their starting infield on opening night, Tuesday night against Philadelphia. Next pitch back by Fisher, a changeup. It's outside, ball 2. In the outfield, it's Jim Hickman in left field, Rod Keneal in center field, and Joe Christopher in right. George Altman was not even brought out to the ballpark. He has an injured muscle in his shoulder, and he has remained back at the hotel to get heat treatment in order to get him ready for opening day. Pitch back is hit foul. Ball going out of play. Count now 1 ball, 2 strikes. As we mentioned earlier, the Mets have had a real tough spring in the casualty department. Altman has an injured shoulder. Hickman was out for a while with a sprained ankle. Thomas is out at the moment with a bad arm, and Grover Powell was sent to the minors because of an arm, and they want him to throw as much as he can, and they hope to get him back. Now Fisher sets and is pitched back to Kirkland's, bounced back to the mound. A chance for 2. The throw to the shortstop at second base is in time. The throw to first base is in the dirt. It's backhanded and dug up by Smith. So the Mets have turned in their second double play. That one, a quick one, 1-6-3 if you're scoring. And now with 2 out, the batter will be Brooks Robinson. Brooks singled the left fielder his first time up and drove in the first run of the ball game. The Orioles lead 2-0 with 2 out here in the bottom half of the 4th. And the first pitch to the right-hand batter is inside, a fastball. Robinson takes the pitch inside by about 4 inches. At 1-0, the right-hander comes back with a changeup inside, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Hawk Taylor, the catcher for the Mets, with a slight argument on that last call by Lou DeMiro, American League umpire. Now it's Fisher at 2-0, and he misses for ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. The on-deck batter is Jerry Adair. .30 pitch, a called strike, a fastball in the outside corner. Fisher back again. This time it's 3-1. And the pitch is fouled away. Strike 2. Fisher with a fastball actually had the ball by Brooks Robinson. So after falling behind 3-0, the count now is full of 3 balls and 2 strikes. Baltimore 2, the Mets nothing. 2 out, bottom half the 4th. And the pitch hit off the hands into center field. Moving in is the center fielder, Rod Keneal. And he makes the catch that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit. The hit erased by the double play. No errors and no one left on base. And the score at the end of 4, the Orioles 2, the Mets nothing. On opening day, next Friday, when the New York Mets meet the Pittsburgh Pirates, 9 members of the Hall of Fame will be on hand. The 4 new members of the Baseball Hall of Fame will be inducted in late July at Cooperstown, Red Faber and Burley Grimes. Old aches and pains, the great White Sox shortstop, Luke Appling, and one of the great hitters of our times, Heine Manuch. Also to be there at Shea Stadium on Friday will be the old Flash, Frankie Frisch, Zach Wheat and Max Carey, King Carl Hubble, and Bill Terry. 400 hitters, a real oddity in the history of baseball, and of course one of the great ones, Hall of Famer Bill Terry. So we'll all be looking forward to seeing all 9 of them on opening day next Friday at Shea Stadium. Now Jack Fisher is due to lead off in the 5th inning, but Jack has worked his 2-inning stint. And Johnny Stevenson is coming out to hit for him. This is the final exhibition ball game in case he wants to give the pitchers that'll be going early in the National League pennant fight for the Mets
a final tune-up. So here is young Johnny Stevenson, who's had less than one full year of baseball on his way north with the New York Mets. Pitch is over for a called strike. He's quite a handy man. He's a catcher by trade. But when he got hurt last year, when he broke a finger, then he went to the outfield, and he developed into quite a defensive outfielder, and now the Mets are working him out at third base. The left-hand hitter swings and misses, strike two. Casey and the coaches have really liked what they have seen of young John Stevenson. Last year, his first year in baseball, and actually only a half year, he was at Auburn, where he hit .261. A foul ball wafted back upstairs and out of play. But actually, Johnny Stevenson, I should say, beg your pardon, was hitting .342 when he suffered the broken finger behind the bat. In order to help the ball club, as soon as he could with his hand and his splinter, he went to the outfield. He attended William Carey College in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Stevenson, 5'11", weighs 180, bats out of an open stance. Looks it over, and the fastball by Barber is low, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Last winter, he worked as an assistant basketball coach at William Carey College. Pitch by Barber, outside and low in the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. So John Stevenson, starting his second, or rather actually his first full year in pro ball, his second year, is on his way north with the Mets. A ground ball lashed on the right side of the diamond, fielded by Jerry Adair. Adair across to Norm Seaburn, 1 away in the 5th inning. 1 away and nobody on, top of the 5th. Now the leadoff hitter, Dick Smith. Dick has grounded out, drawn a walk, and stolen a base. Dick, right-hand hitter with fine running speed, has been used throughout the spring against the left-hander. Originally an outfielder, now being played at first. Ground ball bounced to short. Up with his Louis Aparicio. He strides and throws, 2 men down. Barber has that good sinking fastball working for him, and the Mets are hitting the ball on the ground. He turns that sinker over, and it sinks so much that when you see it from up in the stands, it looks more like a curveball than a fastball. Rod Keneal, the hitter, Rod is grounded out and struck out. Rod is 0 for 2. Inside of the knees, 1 ball and no strikes. Larry Bernard warming up down on the sidelines. Larry comes in to pitch to the last of the 5th inning. Swing and a miss. Barber took something off on that one. 1 ball and 1 strike. With Carl Willey sidelined with a fractured jaw, it puts Casey in quite a dilemma as to whether to leave Larry Bernard in the bullpen or make a starter out of him. Larry is the number 1 relief pitcher, and how important they are. Fastball over for a called strike. Still, you have to have 4 solid starters. Mets are hoping that Grover Powell's arm will respond and that he can join the ball club before too long. Casey does not want to have to open the season with only 1 left-hander. Low and outside. Count even now at 2-2. The only other left-hander on the staff has now been sent to Buffalo, actually for further assignment. He'll be working out with the Buffalo club, awaiting assignment, and that's young Ron Locke. Locke is the designated player by the New York Mets. Now Barber with a 2-2 delivery. Low inside, down around the shoe top, 3-2. Johnny Stevenson, a first-year player, but he's coming north with the ball club. Now the pitch underway. Ground ball hit down the first baseline. Foul, no play. And so, too, is hard-throwing young right-hander Jerry Hensley. Although Jerry didn't get in a ball game as a pitcher last year, nonetheless, he was on the roster of the Kingston Ball Club in the Pirate system. Three and 2 on Hot Rod. 2 outs and nobody on, top of the 5th inning. Barber, the flamethrower from Tacoma Park, winds and pitches. Wafted foul off to the right, no play. Count remains 3-2. Steve Barber, one of the few pitchers in the history of this game to make the jump from Class D to the major league. From a losing season in Class D, he jumped all the way to the American League and made his first year a winning year. He won 10 and lost 7. Now Barber over the head. Down comes the arm. And it's popped up towards short right field. Maybe tough to reach. Kirkland going for it. So is Seaburn. And it's Seaburn who makes the catch and fouls around to retire the side. Good play by Norm Seaburn. He had to take that one over his shoulder. Side retired. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. So we've come halfway at the end of 4.5 to score here in Portsmouth. The Baltimore Orioles 2 and the New York Mets nothing. Last of the fifth inning, Larry Benares now moves out for his 2-inning stint. Jack Fisher in 2 innings allowed no runs, gave up 1 hit, walked none, struck out 1. Jerry Adair, or Casper the Friendly Ghost as his teammates call him, will be leading off in the last half of the 5th inning. It'll be Jerry Adair, Steve Barber, and then the top of the batting order for Jack Brandt. Well, it's a tremendous day here in the Norfolk Portsmouth area. You couldn't ask for a more beautiful day for this time of the year. And the baseball fans of the area certainly turning out in wonderful numbers for today's exhibition game. The ballpark is jammed. The only vacant seats are out in the center field bleachers. The grandstand proper itself is a complete sellout. 1 ball and no strikes on Jerry Adair. Now Benares into his windup. Here's the pitch. Foul tip. 1 ball, 1 strike. Larry has a real good sinker, which makes him a fine relief pitcher. This year he has added to his repertoire a slider that he now has confidence in, and it's become a very important pitch to him. So picking up the extra pitch should help him even that much more. Good slider on the outside corner, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Larry, a very intelligent young man, and he takes coaching extremely well. The 1-2 delivery, reached for and fouled back upstairs and out of play. Last year, starting his first full year in pro ball, he made the Mets, came north, and was with them all year long. The early part of spring training, Roger Craig, a real veteran with one of the great pickoff moves in baseball, worked with Larry Benares, showing him how to hold a runner and how to try to pick a runner off, and Benares picked it up in a hurry. Line drive hits to right. This will be a base hit. Racing toward the line, Joe Christopher, and Adair takes the turn and holds with a single to right field. He hit a curveball, hit the ball right where it was pitched and into right field. Now Barber coming up, and the infield now will be looking for the bunt. The Birds 2 and the Mets nothing, bottom half of the 5th inning. Now Ron Hunt comes in close at third. Dick Smith holding against the runner, Jerry Adair. Adair runs very well. He was a real backcourt star during his college days for Henry Abba, the man who will be coaching the Olympic basketball squad for America. Running down the first base line. Smith up with it. Throws to second. He's out at a close play at second base. Fast fielding by Dick Smith and a strong throw to Al Moran covering. And Adair is taken off the line. Now Russ Snyder is coming out to hit for Jackie Brandt. Russ Snyder, who had a good year for the Orioles last season, a real speedster and one of the outstanding bunters in the game today, will now take over the last half of the ball game in center field for Jackie Brandt. Snyder, a left-hand hitter. Pitches over at the knees for a call strike. His first year out in baseball in the Yankee farm system, playing in McAlester, Oklahoma. He hit something like 432. That's a bunch of hitting. Now the pitch on the way, just off the outside corner. He likes to bunt down the third baseline. He tries to pin it close to the line. Probably 4 out of 6 times he'll bunt the ball foul, but the 2 times it goes safe, there's nothing you can do. It's a base hit. Fly ball hit in the air to short left field. Coming in is Jim Hickman. Now Jim slows up and he puts it away for the out. A year of McAllister, when he hit 432, it was no fluke. He went to bat 556 times. He had 240 base hits. Last year, we were talking about that bunting. Last year, he beat out 16 bunts for base hits. Like trying to catch a puff of smoke. Now, Louis Aparicio is the hitter, 2 outs and 1 on. Barber is the base runner. Birds 2, Mets nothing, bottom half of inning number 5. Larry Benares pitching for the New York Mets. The blonde right-hander comes over the top of the fastball, inside and high, 1 ball and no strikes. Barber and Larry Benares, during the winter, bought a new home out in Huntington. And during the off-season, Larry worked as a substitute school teacher in the Huntington system. Next pitch on the way. Goes to a curve that bends too far away. 2 balls and no strikes on Little Louie. Aparicio, right-hand hitter, standing well back from the plate. Rod Keneal striding toward left center against him. Slider over for a strike, 2-1. While the New York Mets will have tomorrow off and be spending the off day in New York, the Orioles have an exhibition game, their final exhibition game, against the Philadelphia Phillies in Philadelphia. A let-up hit on the ground down the third base line, foul. Change-up fouled off, 2-2 to Aparicio. Tuesday night, opening night for the New York Mets in Philadelphia. It's the left-handers going, Dennis Bennett and Al Jackson. Dennis Bennett's younger brother was down at Clearwater in camp this year with the Philadelphia Phils. They feel he has a chance to develop and perhaps make the major leagues. Low outside, 3-2. One of the most promising youngsters in the entire Philly camp was a pitcher by the name of Dwight Sutherland. As recent as about 2 weeks ago, Gene Mott was very seriously considering keeping him with the big ball club in order that he could be protected from the first-year player draft. Now the pitch on the way, just off the outside corner, ball 4. But the Phillies decided that since they are a pennant contender, they could ill afford to have too many players sitting around in the dugout. So they tried to get waivers on him, and Dwight Sutherland was claimed by the New York Mets. Runners on first and second. Barber moving over to second on the walk by Benares. The hitter now is Bug Powell. Now the stretch pitched by Benares. Gets away from Hawk Taylor. No advance. He recovers in a hurry. Inside and low. 1 ball and no strikes. Last half of inning number 5, 2-0 ball game. Right after the game, the New York Mets will be packing up and flying to New York. Next pitch on the way. Breaking ball down low, 2-0. Been a long spring training for a number of people with the ball club. Several of the players, you'll remember, came down to the early camp. So they left after the first week of February. They've been gone about 67 days. People who are so important to the ball club, like Herb Norman, the equipment manager, and the trainer, Gus Mott. A long drive hit deep to right field that is going, dang gone. A 3-run homer for Bug Powell. The 7th home run this spring for John Bug Powell, the massive young left fielder of the Baltimore Orioles. He pulled that one and easily hit it over the right field fence. 5-0, Birds in front. That brings up the spectacled Norm Siebert. One swing of the bat by Bug Powell, and 3 runs come in. Pitch is over for a call strike. Baltimore, 5 runs on 7 hits. Now Benares with the full windup. In comes the pitch. Breaking ball inside and low. 1 ball and 1 strike. A 2-out, 3-run homer. Next pitch on the way. That's over for a call strike. Steve Barber, the Oriole pitcher in today's game, is without a doubt one of the toughest pitchers in all of the major leagues to hit a home run. He rarely gives up many home runs in the course of a year. Strangely enough, if he gives up about 10 a year, it seems like Detroit gets about 8 out of the 10. 1-2 delivery, it's bounced foul. Well, they say every pitcher has a voodoo club, a club he can just do nothing with. And every hitter has certain clubs that he has trouble with. Detroit's been a voodoo club for the Mets this year. 4 broken bones, 4 different injuries to the Mets this year, and 3 against Detroit. 3 of the 4. The 1-2 delivery, hits foul high in the air, deep down the left field line, out of play. Two Coleman, Craig Anderson, Carl Willie, all hurt against Detroit. Benares with a 1-2 delivery. It's over, strike 3 calls. Seaburn is caught looking. 3 runs. There were 2 hits. No errors, none left on. Now 5 innings complete. Baltimore, 5 runs, 7 hits. They've had 2 left. For the New York Mets, no runs, 3 hits. They've had 5 left on. And on Friday, when the Mets open the beautiful new Shea Stadium, which seats 55,300, they'll be opening a 7-game homestand. 7 consecutive day games, the weekend series with Pittsburgh, the big opener Friday, the ladies' day game Saturday, and a Sunday afternoon game on the 19th of April. Then the Philadelphia Phillies come to New York and to Shea Stadium for a 2-game series, both day games on Monday and Tuesday, the 20th and 21st. After the Phillies leave town, Bob Kennedy and the Chicago Cubs come in. It'll be the first time we've seen them since they train in Arizona. The Cubs will be in on Wednesday and Thursday, April 22nd and April 23rd. Tickets are on sale for the 7-game homestand at all the 81 home games of the New York Mets. At the ticket office at Shea Stadium. Also Midtown Manhattan at Grand Central Station near the 42nd Vanderbilt ramp, the Long Island waiting room of the Penn Station, and in Suffolk County at Macy's and the Walt Whitman Shopping Center in Huntington. Now for the Orioles, Sam Bowens is going to right field, and Dick Brown takes over behind the plate. Russ Snyder goes to center field. So those are the 3 changes for the Orioles. For those of you scoring along with us, Russ Snyder is in center field. Sam Bowens replaces Willie Kirkland in right field, and Dick Brown takes over behind the plate, replacing John Orsino. Ron Hunt leading off against Barber in the 6th inning. Birds now with a 5-0 lead after a 3-run homer by John Powell. Ron doubled to right and has drawn a walk so far. Outside and high, 1 ball and no strikes. Nobody warming up as yet. Hank Bauer planning to go at least 7 innings with Steve Barber. Now Galen Cisco starts to warm up for the New York Mets. Foul pop-up behind the plate. Back comes Dick Brown. He hopes he has a play. Up against the screen. It's out of his reach. And just barely out of his reach. No workout tomorrow for the Mets. Casey giving the ball club the day off after some 65 days of a spring training grind. It'll give them a chance to get unpacked and send their laundry out. Pappy Durkin, our engineer, is heading north, but he's got this thing all beat because he sent his laundry out the day before we left. Of course, his laundry's still in Florida. Now the pitcher on the way, a ground ball banged towards short. Backhand play by Aparicio. The long peg not in time, and Hunt beats it out for a base hit. So Ron is 2 for 2 on a walk and 3 trips to the plate. Right here, we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
WGY, WGFM Schenectady, where the time is 8 minutes past 7 and the temperature is 49 degrees.
Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner. We're in the 6th inning here in Portsmouth. Baltimore 5 and New York nothing. Ron Hunt has just led off here in the 6th inning with a base hit to deep short. That is the 4th hit given up by Steve Barber. Ground ball slowly hit towards second. Adair charges in, flips the ball to second. One on to first, not in time, but what a flashy fielding play. Jerry Adair with a backhand flip got rid of the ball lightning fast to Aparicio. Louis came racing across the bag and threw on to Seaburn, but not in time to get Jim Hickman. It was quite a play by Jerry Adair and Louis Aparicio. Now 1 out and 1 on. The batter is Bob Taylor. The Hawk has grounded out and flied to right, nothing for 2. When he came out of high school, Milwaukee gave him one of the biggest bonuses ever offered to a youngster. He received over $100,000 to sign. He is a hard-working, very determined young athlete. The 1-1 delivery. Bounce foul back toward the screen, no play. Hawk has had his share of bad breaks and now figures that everything is straightening out for him. Last year in the spring, he broke his collarbone. 2 years prior to that, he was in the service, and in the last 3 years has played less than 60 ball games. So he played this winter in Latin America and played every day and had a real good year. The 1-1 pitch by Barber, taken under the knees, 2 balls and a strike. The count. The pitch thrown by Barber hit off the end of the bat, a foul ball. Steve Barber's story has not been unlike that of Bob Taylor. Barber also had a couple of stretches in the service. As a matter of fact, he pitched on weekends on leave from the Army year before last. Then when he came out of the service, he had mononucleosis that weakened him and sent him to the sidelines and put him on the disabled list. And then bounced back to become a 20-game winner last year. Pitching 2-2. Foul ball, no play. Barber has always defied baseball superstition by wearing number 13. Nothing spectacularly new. Over the years, a number of ball players in the big leagues have worn 13. How many hotels have you ever been in that had a 13th floor? 2-2 delivery. Foul ball back, no play. Count even now, 2-2 on Bob Taylor. 1 out and 1 on in the top of the 6th inning. Now Barber slowing himself up a little bit. Galen Cisco warming up for the New York Mets. Last exhibition ball game for New York in case he wants all the pitchers that will be working in that first week to get a little bit of tune-up. Now the pitch on the way. A smash back through the box. A base hit for Bob Taylor. Jim Hickman turning at second. He'll hold there. Snyder plays the ball back in. So this is the first time that Barber has given up more than 1 hit in any inning. Mets now have runners on first and second, 1 out, and Joe Christopher coming up. Joe has 2 for 2. Mets now have a total of 5 hits off Barber. Ron Hunt and Joe Christopher have picked up 4 of the 5. Now the Orioles with the infield at double play depth straight away, and the outfield just about straight away. And the enthusiasm from the top of the bleachers now starts with the cry, "Let's go Mets." Here's the pitcher on the way. Sends it right in for a call, strike one. For the Orioles, in all probability, at Comiskey Park in Chicago, Milt Pappas will pitch their opener, followed by Robin Roberts. Then the Orioles come back to Baltimore for the home opener, where they'll have Steve Barber going against the Yankees. Now Barber in the set position. Delivers to Christopher, and it's fouled. Back toward the press box, no play. Mentioning the press box, you can well imagine how happy the baseball writers following the Mets throughout spring training will be to get back home. They have been gone for over 2 months. Gus Motch and his assistant, Joe Deere, Herb Norman, the home equipment manager, and Nick Torman, who will handle the visiting clubhouse, they've all been in spring training since the first day. Swing and a miss. Barber strikes out Joe Christopher. 2 men down now in the 6th inning, and Sammy Samuel comes up. That is the 4th strikeout by Steve Barber. Samuel has grounded out to first, reached on a force play, nothing for 2. Sammy, a right-hand hitter. Now Barber with 2 out and 2 on. Fires a swing and a miss on a letter half fastball, strike one. Anytime Barber is around the plate, he's a tough pitcher to hit. Actually, while winning 20 last year, he gave up more hits per innings pitched than any previous year, and he says he's bound and determined this year not to give up as many hits as he did last year. It was the first year he'd ever given up very many hits. Foul ball hit back toward the crowd and out of play. Still, it was a very successful year for him. Here's the pitcher on the way by Barber. A slow roller hits his shortstop. Aparicio digs it out of the dirt. Throws to Adair in time to get the force play to erase the side. Side retired in the 6th. Mets threatened but failed to get a run home. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. Now at the end of 5 1/2, the score, the Baltimore Orioles 5 and the New York Mets nothing. And here's music to think of Rheingold in any language by.
Rheingold tiene el rico sabor y refresca mejor. ¡Extra Dry! ¡Ay, ay, ay! Rheingold tiene el rico sabor y refresca mejor.
In any language, it's easy to understand why Rheingold is as good to your taste as it is to your thirst. Extra dry brewing makes the difference. Makes each Rheingold so smooth, so crisp, so satisfying. Rheingold after Rheingold. It's as good to your taste as it is to your thirst.
Rheingold tiene el rico sabor y refresca mejor. ¡Extra Dry! ¡Ay, ay, ay! Rheingold tiene el rico sabor y refresca mejor. Rheingold me da Rheingold. Rheingold.
Last of the 6th inning, right fielder Sam Bowens will lead off for the Orioles. I'll check that it's going to be catcher Dick Brown, followed by Sam Bowens. Brown took over for John Orsino. Orsino drew a walk and singled to right center and 2 times up. Dick Brown leading off for the Orioles. Last of the 6th inning, Larry Bernard on the mound. Tracy Stallard worked the first 2. Jack Fisher then worked 2, and now Bernard starts his 2nd inning. Galen Cisco is getting warm, and he'll take over for a couple. Foul tip, strike one. Well, tomorrow the Mets are back in New York enjoying an off day. Monday they will be attended to parade by the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce. Our next broadcast will be on Tuesday night, the National League opener from Connie Mack Stadium in Philadelphia. Brown standing straight up. Now cocks the bat high behind his ear. Looks at a sneaky fastball over for a call strike, and Bernard really sneaked that one in on him. Now a 2-strike count on Dick Brown. Well, Dick's old high school buddy who broke in so sensationally and then suffered the tragic accident is now a baseball broadcaster. Off the outside corner, Herb Score this year will be helping on the broadcast of the Cleveland game. During their high school days, the battery was Score pitching and Brown catching. One ball and 2 strikes to Dick Brown. Now Larry Bernard is over the head. The pitch fouled off. He went for an inside delivery, pulled it foul back over toward the Mets dugout. Perfect day, a marvelous crowd. Final exhibition game for New York. Mets flying back home after the game today. Pitching 1 and 2. Ground ball hit right back to the mound, taken by Bernard. He flips the first one down. One away and nobody on. Up to hit now will be the right fielder, Sam Bowen. Last year at Rochester, Sam Bowens at 285 with 70 RBIs. He has good size. He packs about 195 pounds on a 6'2" frame. Right-hand hitter with an overly closed stance. Foul ball off the bat handle, slithering on the ground straight back. Outfield, a fan around toward left, figuring Bowens as a pull hitter with good power. The infield away around to the left. Now Bernard tries to pitch away from him. It's outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. One delivery. Change up inside and low. 2 balls and a strike. Ron Hunt playing at third, protecting the line against Sam Bowens. Foul tipped into the glove of Hawk Taylor, and the count is even now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Fans, remember that Guy Lombardo provides the musical entertainment preceding the opening game on Friday at Shea Stadium. The national anthem will be sung by that great Metropolitan Opera star, Robert Merrill. The 2-2 delivery. Outside and high, it's ball 3. Full count now, 3 and 2. So the string is out, 3 and 2 on Sam Bowens. 1 out and nobody on. Now the pitch on the way. An inside delivery, pull foul. Down past the television camera and out of play. Our next broadcast will be on Tuesday night out of Philadelphia. A game that will be both broadcast and televised back to New York. Three and 2. Fouled again. So Bernard having quite a duel here with Sam Bowen. Larry came on to pitch in the 5th inning with 2 outs and 2 on. John Powell hit a home run over the right field fence to drive in 3. 3-2 delivery. And he pops it up on the right side towards shallow right field. Trailing out is Somwell. He's there, and he makes the catch 2 men down. Now 2 outs and nobody on. Frank Brooks Robinson coming on to hit. Brooks singled to left, driving in the first run of the afternoon, and then flied to center, 1 hit and 2 times up. Brooks has led the Orioles in RBIs during the spring game. He covers third base like a vacuum cleaner. A little bit high, 1 ball and no strikes. Orioles 5 and the Mets nothing. We're in the last half of the sixth inning. Now Bernard out of his windup delivers a little bit high with it. 2 balls and no strikes. Delivery. This is over, and Robbie was taking all the way. The pitch is a strike on the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike. Inside, Brooks had to jump back, and the count goes to 3-1. 2 outs and nobody on here in the last of the sixth inning. Baltimore 5 runs on 7 hits. New York no runs on 5 hits. Barber has kept the hits scattered in only 1 inning as he given up more than 1 hit. Ground ball hammered toward short. Fielded by Al Moran. He hurries to peg across to Smith, and the side is out. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. Now 6 innings complete in Portsmouth, Virginia. The score: the Baltimore Orioles 5 and the New York Mets. We're going now to the top half of the 7th inning, and shortstop Al Moran is up to lead off for the New York Mets, facing Steve Barber, who started and he's come all the way. The Orioles leading by a score of 5-0, and this the last exhibition game for the Mets. The Orioles have 1 more. They go to Philadelphia tomorrow. A left-hander with the pitch, and it's low for ball 1. We've seen the first Met banner of the season here in Portsmouth, Virginia, so the season has indeed begun. Barber's pitch, and it's in there for a called strike. 1-1. The banner saying "We love the Mets" has been strung across the top of the center field bleachers, and a group there from Connecticut, Yonkers, and Brooklyn. Here's a pitch swung on. It's a ground ball to second base. Jerry Adair over, underhands on to first in time, and Al Moran has grounded out second to first. There's 1 away. Larry Bernard is due up, but Chris Cannizzaro is going to bat for Larry Bernard. Chris Cannizzaro. Bernard has completed his 2-inning stint, during which he gave up 3 runs on 2 hits. Struck out 1 and walked none.
Your attention, please, for the Mets. Heading for the pitcher. Number 8, Chris Cannizzaro.
Galen Cisco will be the next pitcher for the New York Mets next inning. He has just now completed his warm-ups and is walking on in toward the dugout area. Cannizzaro is a catcher by trade, a right-hand batter, left-hander. Steve Barber's pitch misses everybody, including Dick Brown, and bangs up against the screen behind the plate. So it is ball 1 to Cannizzaro. The Mets right now are carrying 4 catchers. They figure to platoon Jesse Gonder and Hawk Taylor. Now they have Cannizzaro and John Stevenson. Stevenson can be used in the outfield or at third base. Has been worked out both places. Played part of 1 exhibition game in left field. Bringing the ground ball to short. Taken by Aparicio, and the throw on to first in time, and he's out. 2 men down. And that will bring up Dick Smith, the first baseman. Let's have 3 first basemen: Ed Kranepool, Tim Harkness, Dick Smith. Last year, here at this ballpark, Frank D. Lawrence Stadium in Portsmouth, Kranepool hit 3 home runs. Of course, he did not get into the lineup today, hasn't been in it because of the fact that he is a left-hand batter, and Casey Stengel wanted to keep his right-hand hitting first baseman, Dick Smith, in the lineup. Bunted foul. Smith trying to use his speed as he found Brooks Robinson playing a deep third base, but just tipped it off, and it's a strike. Dick Hall is now loosening up in the bullpen for the Orioles. Barber again with the pitch, and it is swung out and missed. 2 strike counts. Steve Barber scheduled to go 7 innings, and we're in the top half of the 7th here now, with the Orioles leading by a score of 5-0. Previously this spring, the Mets and the Orioles played a 2-game set in Miami, both night games, and split the 2 games. Swing and a miss, and Barber finishes up with a strikeout as he got Smith He set the side down in order in the top of the seventh with no runs, no hits, no errors, none left. And the score at the end of 6 1/2 innings is the Orioles 5 and the Mets nothing. It'll be Jerry Adair coming up now to lead off for the Orioles in the bottom half of the 7th inning. And Lou Jackson is swinging a bat in the on-deck circle, preparatory to batting for Steve Barber, due up second in this inning. Galen Cisco is the pitcher in the ballgame for the Mets, and Jerry Hensley has gone down to the bullpen now. Right-hand batter, Jerry Adair, 2 for 2 this afternoon. In and waiting is Cisco, winds and fires, and the pitch is swung on. It's a ground ball toward the hole, backhanded off the glove of Moran, all out into left field for a base hit. Retrieved by Hickman and fired back in, and it is 3 straight base hits for Jerry Adair as he opens up the bottom of the 7th with a single to left. Now Lou Jackson is batting for Steve Barber. Last year at Toronto, Jackson hit .315, including 31 home runs. We're getting a pinch runner now. Bob Savarine is running for Jerry Adair at first base. Savarine, an infielder by trade. There is nobody out. The Orioles lead 5-0, bottom half of the 7th. Galen Cisco up and set now. Savarine leads at first, and the pitch to Lou Jackson is hit deep to the right field corner. It's going to carry far enough if it stays in, and it is a home run for Lou Jackson. Way out of the ballpark and beyond, over the fence and on the rooftop of a house beyond. Well, Casey Stengel talks about ball players that hit him over buildings, and that's what Lou Jackson did. A 2-run homer. Savarine scores ahead of Lou Jackson as he swung on the first pitch that he got from Galen Cisco and gave it the long ride. Second home run for the Orioles. Bruce Powell had a 3-run homer earlier, and the Orioles are out in front by a score of 7-0. Still nobody out, and Russ Snyder is the batter. Left-hand batter. And the pitch is high for a ball. Anytime Snyder's up there, you have to protect against the possibility of the bunt. For that reason, Ron Hunt is on the edge of the grass at third. Cisco again winds and fires, and the pitch is low for a ball. 2-0 to the Orioles center fielder. Young Jerry Hensley continues to warm up in the Met bullpen. Cisco with the pitch, and it's low for a ball. So it has run out 3-0 now to Snyder. .30 pitch, and it's in there for a call strike. He was taking all the way, and it's 3-1. Now the 3-1 delivery. Hit on the ground. And it is taken by Samuel. He placed to Cisco, and he got him in time as Dick Smith made a run at the ball himself and went on over in front of Samuel. Made the backhand step, didn't come up with it. Samuel did, and Cisco got over to cover in time. So if you're scoring, the play goes 4-1. One away, and that brings up Lou Aparicio. He is 1 for 2 in a walk, and he has scored 1 run. Cisco winds and fires, and it's outside for a ball. 1 man out, nobody on base. Orioles 7, the Mets nothing. Right after this game, the Mets will be flying into New York. Here's a pitch in there for a called strike. It's 1-1. The Mets are expected to arrive at John F. Kennedy International Airport approximately 3.5 hours after the conclusion of this game. A 1-1 pitch, and it's low for a ball. Luis Aparicio. Bruce Powell is waiting around on deck.
Cisco looks for the sign. And the pitch is high and away. Tried his slip pitch. It's Aparicio at the plate. We'll be on the air Tuesday night at 8 p.m. New York time from Connie Mack Stadium in Philadelphia. Pitch is in there. He started to go, held up. It's called strike. This ballpark is the home of the Tidewater Tides of the Carolina League. They have a working agreement with the Chicago White Sox, who played here yesterday against the Reds. And here is a drive down the right field line. A Tomahawk swinging a fair ball. It'll go for extra bases as it is being run down in the right field corner by Joe Christopher, and Aparicio is on his way to third. As the throw comes in, he holds up with a triple right down the right field line. He tomahawked it and kept it in fair territory so that the ball scammed then off in the foul ground back of the right field corner, and Christopher had to run it down while the speedy Luis Aparicio pulled up at third with a triple. And that's going to bring up Boog Powell, who is 1 for 3, but the one was a big one, a home run over the right field fence. We're in the bottom of the 7th. You're in Portsmouth, Virginia. Cisco's pitch is ripped into center field for a base hit. That scores Aparicio. Can heel up with the ball, plays it back in. Boog Powell is on at first with a single to right and the run batted in. It is the Orioles 8 and the Mets nothing. And right now, we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network. Here's Lindsey Nelson with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy at Frank D. Lawrence Stadium in Portsmouth, Virginia. The final exhibition game of this spring for the New York Mets against the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles are leading by a score of 8-0. Norm Sebring is coming up with a runner at first and one man out. Sebring is nothing for 3. Pitch is inside for a ball. Sebring came into this afternoon's game with an average of 276 for the spring, but it's a little deceptive because he has had only one extra base hit all spring, one double. Throw over and not in time. Powell takes a short lead. Pitches in there for a called strike to Sebring. Sebring obtained from the Kansas City A's in exchange for first baseman Jim Gentile. Sebring played with the Yankees as a teammate of Hank Bauer, his present manager, and then, of course, Bauer managed him in Kansas City. Cisco checks and deals, swung on and missed. The Orioles have 3 runs in this inning. Cisco's pitch, a little tight. Popped out of the glove of Hawk Taylor. He retrieves and returns it. Leading hitter for the Orioles during their exhibition season in Florida was utility infielder Bob Johnson, who hit .370, followed closely by catcher Dick Brown, who hit .362. 2-2 pitch. Hit on the ground towards second. Tom well over to Moran. He can't find the handle and steps on the bag himself. Apparently he got a finger cut in the webbing of his own glove, and they got the force at second, but no other play, so there is no error charge. But it looked like an easy double play ball. Tom Wells started to scoop and somehow got mixed up, and the ball dropped out of the glove, and he's looking at the index finger of his right hand. Looks as though he got it caught in the webbing. And he finally picked up the ball and stepped on the bag at second himself. So Sebring is on. 2 men out, and Dick Brown is coming up. He's been up one time, got it out, pitched it to first. But a .362 batting average for the stay in Florida of the Orioles. Right-hand batter. Here's a swing and a miss for a strike. The Orioles 8 and the Mets nothing. You're in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Galen Cisco steps off the rubber, and as he does, Dick Brown steps out of the batter's box. Again, we're set as Sebring leads at first. Pitch to Brown is high for a ball. Galen Cisco, one-time captain and linebacker of Ohio State's football team. Cisco checks. And the pitch is outside for a ball. Galen Cisco and Frank Howard were baseball teammates at Ohio State. And as undergraduates, they took a trip to Japan under the sponsorship of the State Department. Pitch is low, blocked by Taylor. Rolls it 2 feet out in front of the plate. There is no advance by Sebring at first base. 2 men out. Again, Cisco checks and deals. Pitch is swung on and full foul. On the ground, back at third. Continuing on out down the left field line in foul territory. Billy Hunter coaching there at third. Sherm Lawler is coaching at first, as Gene Woodling was given the day off. Throughout the season, he will be stationed at first for the Orioles. Now the pitch to Brown. Swung on and fouled off, right off the protector of umpire Lou DeMuro. So Dick Brown is still alive. Cisco looks into Taylor. And the pitch swung on and fouled off. Off the screen this time. Mets arrived last night, having worked out yesterday. Then they left, actually, the Tampa airport about 4 p.m., arrived here around 7. Here's a pitch swung on, popped up foul, coming back now to play. Taylor starts to give it a run and gives up as this one comes on back. When the Mets arrived at their hotel, their motor hotel, the Chicago White Sox still were there. And before either team left, the Baltimore Orioles came in. So there was one point last night, and we had 3 major league teams in one lobby in Norfolk. Cisco checks Sebring. And the pitch is high. Ball 4. Dick Brown goes to first with the base on ball. Sebring moves to second. And Sam Bowens is coming up. And at one time, he popped out to second base. Bowens is a right-hand batter. Close stance. Swing and a foul ball topped down to third base coach Billy Hunter. Fields it and fires it right on back out to Galen Cisco. Bowens moving around, exercising a leg as though he chopped that one right off his ankle. And just outside the batter's box. Now he's coming in. His pitch is right in for a called strike. That was a slip pitch. Cisco said he's had that slip pitch for a couple of years, but it's just now that it's begun to look like one. Inside for a ball. Here's a 1-2 pitch, and it's inside. 2-2. Lead first and second. Here's a pitch deep to left field, way back toward the corner. And it is a fair ball going over the fence for a home run for Bowen as it went around the foul pole It is being questioned by Moran, but umpire Paul Crawford down the line says it went around the foul pole, 330 feet away, and it is a 3-run homer for Sam Bowen, and the Orioles lead by a score of 11-0. The third Oriole home run of this ball game. One by Boog Powell, one by Lou Jackson, one by Sam Bowen. Nobody on base, and Brooks Robinson up now with 2 men out. Robbie's 1 for 3 today, has batted in 1 run. Pitch is in there for a called strike. Casey Stengel out in front of the Met dugout, parading up and down. And the pitch is high for a ball. Hit. But 2 of them home runs. Swing on a ground ball deep to third. One-handed by Ron Hunt. Throws on to first in time, and he got him. The side is retired. The Orioles got 6 runs on 5 hits. No errors and none left. And the score at the end of 7 full innings of play is the Orioles 11 and the Mets nothing. Opening day at Shea Stadium in New York, less than a week away now. It'll be next Friday afternoon, April 17th, the New York Mets and the Pittsburgh Pirates. So if you have not already obtained your ticket for opening day, be sure and do so. And keep in mind that the ticket office will be open tomorrow at Shea Stadium. It is open on Sunday. Of course, the ticket office at Shea Stadium will be open until 5 o'clock this afternoon. Opening day, Friday afternoon, April 17th. Now, Dick Hall has come in to pitch for the Orioles. Ed Cranepool has come out swinging a bat. You'll recall last year, Ed Cranepool hit 3 home runs here. As I remember it, and this is only a recollection that I would not bet much on, I think he hit the first 2 off Robin Roberts and the last one off Stu Miller. Ed Cranepool is being announced now. The official attendance figures have been announced, 5,350. 5,350 paid here this afternoon. And the pitch is low for a ball. Bob Johnson is now playing first base for the Orioles. In place of Norm Stevens. And the pitch is low to Cranepool at the plate. 2-0. And Bob Savarine is playing second base. He came on as a pinch runner, stayed in. And the pitch is outside for a ball. It's gone 3-0 now to Ed Cranepool. We're in the top half of the 8th inning, and the pitch is fired in. Cranepool took the 3-0 pitch for a called strike 1. Ken Hall's pitch, and it's swung on and fouled off to the left side now to play, and the count is now full at 3-2. Steve Barber worked 7 innings, in which he allowed no runs on 5 hits, struck out 4, and walked 2. And the pitch is low ball for Cranepool, has drawn a walk. Goes down to first base, and Ron Hunt is coming up. Hunt's 2 for 2 and a walk today, right-hand batter. Not batting number 3 today in the Met batting orders. Cranepool leads at first, and the pitch is in there for a called strike. Jim Hickman is waiting on deck. Swing and a ground ball to third, taken and thrown to second for one. The throw into first, a double play. It's Brooks Robinson. Gets a shot, gunned it on over to Savarine and on to Bob Johnson for a 5-4-3 double play. 2 men out, nobody on, and that will bring up Jim Hickman. The Orioles 11 and the Mets nothing here in Portsmouth, Virginia. Pitch is in for a called strike to Jim Hickman. Dick Hall again into the motion. And there is a check swing, but it's in there for a strike. 2-strike count. Bob Taylor moves out to the on-deck circle. Here's a swing and a miss, and Hall chalks up a strikeout. His first as he gets Jim Hickman. For the Mets, no runs, no hits, no errors, none left. And the score at the end of 7.5 innings is the Orioles 11 and the Mets nothing. You made any plans yet? For after the game, I mean. If you haven't thought, then give some thought to all the great things there are to see and to do and to enjoy wherever you are along the Rhine-Gold Beach. For this is the place where it's easy to find the best fun, the best food, and the best beer. Rhine-Gold Extra Dry. Take one taste and you'll know Rheingold is as good to your taste as it is to your thirst. Rheingold is brewed by people who love beer, for people who love beer. With a crisp liveliness no other beer can match. So tonight, have a big time. Have a good time. Have a Rheingold and have another. Rheingold is as good to your taste as it is to your thirst. Rheingold after Rheingold. Jerry Hensley is now in the ball game as the pitcher for the New York Mets, and Ed Cranepool stays in the game in center field. He batted for Rod Kinneal, and he is staying in the game. Jerry Hensley is the young fellow who did not pitch an inning of baseball last year. As the property of the Pittsburgh Pirates, he and his twin brother and battery mate were at Kingsport. However, he was on the roster, but simply worked out before games and did not appear in a single game. Red Murph, a Met scout, had seen him in high school, saw him warm up before a ball game there, and Hensley was drafted by the New York Mets. Bob Savarine is up now to lead off for the Orioles. Hensley's first pitch is low for a ball. His stock and trade is a blazing fastball. Lou Jackson is now on deck for the Orioles. Came out as a pinch hitter and stayed in the game. This pitch is in for a called strike. Hensley getting a sign from Hawk Taylor, who's been behind the plate all day. Here's the pitch in there. Went to the breaking ball for a called strike. 1-2 now to Savarine. Left-hand batter. Ed Bowder is warming up now in the bullpen for the Mets. Ed Bowder. This pitch is fired high for a ball. Cisco worked only one inning, in which he allowed 6 runs on 5 hits, struck out none and walked 1. Hensley with the pitch, and it's low. A full count of 3-2 to Bob Savarine. Hensley looks for the sign, and here's the payoff pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. So young Jerry Hensley chalks up a strikeout, and this is Lou Jackson coming up. Batted for Barber and stayed in the game. Pinch hit home run in his only previous appearance. And the pitch is low for ball one to Lou Jackson. The Orioles 11 and the Mets nothing in the... The Orioles 11 and the Mets nothing in the bottom half of the 8th inning, Portsmouth, Virginia. The Orioles are the home team. Hensley's pitch swung on and fouled back into the glove of Hawk Taylor. 1-1 count. Now the pitch is high off the top of the glove of Taylor and continuing on back. It's 2-1. The Mets today, of course, without the services of George Altman, who was left back at the hotel where he could undergo further treatment for the shoulder injury he sustained on the final day in Florida. Senator Gus March says there is a good possibility he may be able to play on Tuesday night, although it is not a certainty. Frank Thomas is in New York, where he was sent several days ago for treatment of tendonitis. There's a swing and a miss. All the way around for Lou Jackson. 2-2 count. Tomorrow will be an off day for the New York Mets, in which they will busy themselves with uniform fitting. Carl Willey, of course, is in New York. He went directly yesterday, flying up from St. Pete with his jaw wired. With a swing and a foul ball, back and out of play. Count holds at 2-2. One man out, nobody on base. On Monday, the Mets will participate in a 10:15 a.m. Flushing, Jamaica parade, followed by a luncheon. Then they'll work out on the Hofstra field. Swing and a foul ball off and out of play. Work continues, of course, on the field at Shea Stadium to get it in shape for opening day, Friday, April 17th, the Mets and the Pittsburgh Pirates. 2-2 pitch to Lou Jackson. Breaking ball swung on, fouled off, got just enough of it to stay alive as Hawk Taylor couldn't hold on, and the count continues at 2-2. The Mets will go to Philadelphia Tuesday morning. 2-2 pitch. It's in there for a called strike 3. Struck him out. So Jerry Hensley has faced 2 men. He struck them both out. You know, people who like beer best like Rheingold best of all, and I'm one of them. Hope you are too, because Rheingold is as good to your taste as it is to your spirit. Russ Snyder's been up twice without a hit after having replaced Jackie Brandt, who started at center field. This is hit in the air to center field, and Ed Craneville is coming on for his first chance of the day, and he makes the catch. So Jerry Hensley gets to start out in order in the bottom of the 8th with no runs, no hits, none left, and the score at the end of 8 is the Orioles 11 and the Mets nothing. Well, the year of the Mets move into Shea Stadium is upon us. Everything written about this development becomes a collector's item. A special dedication program has been prepared for the Mets and will be on sale at Shea Stadium when the season opens Friday. You can also order copies of that program by mail. This book contains pictures and a history of the New York National League teams, the Polo Grounds, Ebbets Field, Shea Stadium, and Casey Stengel. The program will be available at the stadium only during the first homestand, so to get your copy in advance, send $1 to Dedication Program, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. We're going now to the top half of the ninth inning with Dick Hall on the mound for the Orioles. Bob Taylor due up for the Mets. Duke Snyder has a bat at the corner of the bat rack. Taylor is there also. And Taylor is coming on up to bat. And Snyder is following him out to the on-deck circle. So apparently it's going to be Taylor batting and then Snyder batting for Christopher due up next. Mark Taylor is 1 for 3 this afternoon. You'll recall that last year Duke Snyder joined the Mets right here at this stadium. After he was purchased from the Dodgers, he flew in here and got here just about game time last year. Dick Hall with the pitch in the top of the ninth, and it's outside for a ball. Sturdy group of New Yorkers out in center field with the cry of "Let's go Mets." Here's the pitch, low for a ball. Hall looks to Dick Brown for his sign. And the pitch is swung on, hit deep to left if it stays fair, but it's curving out over and disappearing, a foul ball. A long strike for Bob Taylor. One and one now to Taylor. Snyder still there in the on-deck circle. This pitch is swung on and popped up, and the short center field. Severine is out there, and Snyder's there, and Russ Snyder makes the catch. So there's one away, and now here's Duke Snyder batting for Joe Christopher, and Snyder's getting a hand. Snyder, of course, a left-hand batter. And the pitch is in there for a called strike. Jesse Gonder is now around the bat rack of the New York Mets with one away and nobody on here in the top half of the ninth. There's a swing and a miss. 2 strike counts for Duke Snyder. Playing a ground ball, a comebacker taken by Hall, and he plays on over to first in time to Johnson. As Snyder goes out pitcher to first, and now Jesse Gonder is coming up to bat for Sonny Samuel. Gonder's a left-hand batter, facing right-hand pitcher Dick Hall, who is the second Oriole pitcher of the day. Pitcher's outside for a ball. Steve Barber pitched the first 7 innings and is the pitcher of record. Tim Harkness has moved out to the on-deck circle now with the hope that Gonder can keep it alive long enough for him to get a chance. Pitch is in there to Gonder. Jan Hall, set. A swing and a miss. 1 and 2 is the count now to Gonder. The Orioles 11 and the Mets nothing. 1-2 delivery. Set up outside. 2-2. We'll be on the air Tuesday night from Connie Mack Stadium in Philadelphia at 8 p.m. Here is a swing and a miss, and Gandhi has struck out, and this ball game is over. Hall getting 2 strikeouts during his tenure as the Mets are out in the top of the ninth with no runs, no hits, no errors, and none left. And the Orioles have won it by a score of 11-0. We'll be back in a moment with a final summary and totals. Right now, the final score of the game is the Orioles 11 and the Mets nothing. And now here's news about a cigarette that really scores with baseball fans.